Cox Local Edition on CNN Headline News. I'm Catherine Falk with Cox Communications. Thank you so much for joining us today. We have a wonderful guest today, Dr. Preston Royster, who's the founder and chairman of the board of the African American Adoption Agency. Thank you so much for joining us.
And thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Tell us about this wonderful agency that you've founded, the African American Adoption Agency.
Well, I'll start with the beginning. We got started sometime before March of '05, and we got our license in March of '05, and then we started working, and we've been at it since.
That's terrific. And the whole goal or the whole creation of that agency and the naming of it has special significance. So why don't you talk about that?
Well, there's a preponderance of black children waiting to be adopted, far in excess of any other racial group. And when I discovered that in about '03 or '04, I decided that I had to be doing something to help overcome that. So I decided to get the guidelines, et cetera, and prepare a proposal for a license to do it. And I was working in Richmond at the time on the governor's staff, and all the information was right there in town where I was. So I started on it then.
And you shared some very interesting statistics with me about the proportion of African Americans in the state versus the proportion of African American children up for adoption. Tell us about that.
Yes, that really illustrates the problem. There are about black people are about 19% of the population in Virginia, yet the number of black children in need of adoptive homes are 49%. So that's what really drove me when I saw that disparity. And I decided someone had to do something about it, and we just, well, be the ones to do it.
And you named the agency really to bring more focus onto this issue, but the agency actually works with all children, correct?
All of the adoptions agencies in America work with all ages, all races, without any other consideration. And the real purpose for giving it the African American name was to really give a focus to it. But we serve all families. We recruit families throughout Virginia, and we serve all families, regardless of their race or ethnicity.
And you told me that you and your team recruit people at the post office and everywhere you go in your day.
Yeah, what I just told you about that was an interesting little experience. I was in the post office last week and to mail a letter. And while I was at the desk writing something, the man who was serving me needed my address. And he said, "Well, where's your address?" And I handed him my card. And he looked at it as he kept working. And after a while, he looked up at me and says, "This is what you do?" I said, "Yeah. I'm glad you noticed that." And he said, "My wife is going to call you tonight." And she did. And now she's been considered for an adoptive parent.
That's fabulous. Tell us about how our viewers can help you continue this great work and learn more about what you're doing at the African American Adoption Agency.
Well, we spend most of our time recruiting families. It's a task to find families who are interested and come forth and get prepared to go through the process. So we spend a lot of our time at that. And once we get parents qualified, we then take it the next step. And
great. And they can find out more about you on your website. Tell us about that.
Yeah, our web address is africanamericanadoptions.org.
Terrific.
And you can go in there and you can find some general information about us and call us.
Great.
And we'll be glad to get back in touch with you to start the process.
Thank you so much, and we hope that our viewers will help you with volunteers and contributions to continue your great work. And thank you for joining us. And thank you for joining us on Cox Local Edition on CNN Headline News. Have a wonderful day.